5:30 p.m. November 28th, 1940. The Sherry Netherland Hotel, Manhattan. A 63-year-old man finishes his second drink at the lobby bar, alone. In his pocket is a leather notebook. He has spent the afternoon filling 8 small pages with the same handwriting that once moved entire markets. The man is Jesse Livermore. 11 years earlier, he made $100 million in a single month, betting on the worst market crash in American history. Adjusted for today, about $1.5 billion. One man, one trade. He was the greatest trader who ever lived. He beat Wall Street 4 separate times, from nothing, with rules traders still quote every single day. And tonight he will walk to the cloakroom of this hotel and end his own life. This is not a history video. This is an autopsy of the most expensive psychology in market history. Because here's what makes this story worth 20 minutes of your life. Every single blow-up Jesse Livermore ever had, you have had. Smaller numbers, same wiring. The thing that killed the greatest trader who ever lived logged into a trading account somewhere in the world tonight. Stay to the end, because the last 5 minutes, what he got right, and the one thing he built that survived him, is the part nobody tells. To understand how a man makes and loses 4 fortunes, you have to start where he started, with $5 and a talent nobody had a name for yet. Boston, 1891. Jesse Livermore is 14 years old, and he has just run away from his father's farm with $5 his mother slipped him at the door. He gets a job at a brokerage called Payne Weber as a chalk boy. His job is simple. A man reads numbers off the ticker tape, and Jesse writes them on the board. All day. Hundreds of prices. And this is where it happens. The thing that separates him from every other boy in Boston. Jesse starts noticing that the numbers behave. Before a stock breaks upward, the tape prints a certain way. Before it collapses, another way. He isn't predicting anything. He's reading behavior. The fear and greed of 10,000 strangers, printed on a strip of paper half an inch wide. He starts writing his observations in a notebook, testing them, keeping score against himself before a single dollar is at risk. Remember that notebook. It's the first thing he does right, and it's the thing he'll abandon exactly when it matters most. At 15, he places his first real bet in a bucket shop, a betting parlor where you wager on stock prices without owning stock. $5 on Burlington Railroad. 2 days later, he collects $3.12 in profit. $3.12. Hold that number in your head, because this story ends with 100 million, and the wiring never changes. Within a year, the boy is making more from the bucket shops than from his job, so he quits. He's 15 years old, and he is a full-time trader. By his early 20s, he has a nickname across Boston, the Boy Plunger. And he has a problem most traders would kill for. He wins so consistently that every bucket shop in the city bans him. Think about what that means. The game paid out honestly, and he beat it so reliably they had to remove him from it. The tape was real. His read was real. That part was never in question. Not once in 50 years. What happens next is the question this entire video exists to answer. If the skill was real, where did 4 fortunes go? So in 1900, 23 years old, he takes his bankroll to the only place left that will take his orders. New York. Wall Street. The real market. And Wall Street promptly takes everything he has. Here's what nobody warned him. His edge didn't transfer. In a bucket shop, you bet on the printed price. Instant. Exact. On the real exchange, your order travels through floor brokers, crowds, minutes of delay. By the time his orders filled, the price he'd read was gone. Same eyes, same tape, same talent, wrong game. The mechanics underneath had changed, and the mechanics ate him alive. Sit with that one, because it never stops being true. The skill that prints money in one game can be the exact thing that bankrupts you in the next. He borrowed $500, went back to the bucket shops of the Midwest under false names, rebuilt a stake, and returned. By 1901, at 24, Jesse Livermore ran his account to $50,000, his first real fortune. He lost it in weeks, made it back, lost it again. This is the rhythm of his 20s. Brilliant reads, brutal execution, an account that breathed like a lung. Fortune number 1, made and gone. By 1906, he has learned the real market's mechanics, the way he once learned the tape, the hard way, in cash. And in the spring of that year, he does something that makes the old-timers call him reckless. He starts shorting Union Pacific, the strongest railroad stock in America, for no reason he can fully explain. The tape just reads wrong. Days later, the San Francisco earthquake levels the city, and Union Pacific's tracks with it. $250,000 into his pocket, from reading nothing but behavior. But 1906 was the rehearsal. October 1907, the banking system itself starts to crack. The papers will call it the Panic of 1907. Livermore has been short for weeks, positioned like a man standing at the top of a staircase, watching everyone else realize there's no railing. On October 24th, the market goes over the edge. Money to buy stocks simply does not exist on the floor. And Jesse Livermore, the runaway chalk boy, 30 years old, makes over $1 million in a single session. That afternoon, a message reaches him from the offices of J.P. Morgan himself, the man personally holding American banking together with his own hands. The message, in effect, "Please stop selling. You are making it worse." The most powerful financier on earth just asked a 30-year-old farm runaway to stand down. And Livermore does something almost nobody in this story ever does. He stops. He covers his shorts into the panic, banks the fortune, and walks away from the bottom. By the end of the panic, he is worth $3 million, made entirely from patience. Months of sitting, then one day of harvest. Years later, he'd write the line traders still tattoo on their walls. It was never my thinking that made the big money. It was always my sitting. Fortune number 2, the biggest yet. It survives 11 months. Because in 1908, the man who could read 10,000 strangers meets the one opponent the tape can't print. A friendly voice with conviction. His name was Percy Thomas, the Cotton King. A legendary speculator, older, eloquent, magnetic. And broke, though he didn't lead with that. Livermore is short cotton and long wheat, and both positions are working. Read that again. Both positions are working. Then Percy Thomas starts talking. Charming, learned, certain. The crop reports are wrong. The shorts are wrong. Cotton is going up. And Jesse Livermore, against his own tape, against his own rules, against his own working position, flips it. He covers his cotton short and starts buying. Cotton falls. He buys more. It falls again. He buys more, averaging down into a loser. The exact sin he'd spent 15 years teaching himself never to commit. And to feed the losing trade, he sells the wheat position that was making him money. He later said he did it to keep a brilliant man's respect. 90% of his fortune, gone. Not to the market, to a conversation. Understand what actually failed here, because it wasn't analysis. His system said one thing. A human being he admired said another. And the need to be respected outshouted the need to be right. You've run this exact trade. The Discord that talked you out of your stop. The influencer whose conviction replaced your plan. The friend whose certainty felt safer than your own read. Percy Thomas has 10,000 names now. He posts daily. By 1912, it has all compounded. Bad trades chasing worse ones. Expenses that assumed the money would always come back. Jesse Livermore is over $1 million in debt. In 1915, he declares bankruptcy. The boy plunger, the man Morgan's office once begged to stand down, cannot pay his grocer. Fortune number 3, the rebuild that never happened. 3 tally marks. Most stories end here. His restarts, with 500 borrowed shares of credit at a brokerage that remembered what he used to be, and 6 weeks of doing absolutely nothing. World War I is boiling, and Bethlehem Steel is the war. He watches it climb for 6 weeks, flat broke, waiting for his price, the pivotal point his rules demanded. It touches 98. He commits everything. It runs to 145 within days. One trade, waited for like a sniper, and he's alive again. By 1917, he has done something bankruptcy law did not require, and Wall Street could not believe. He pays back every creditor, in full. Old debts, legally erased, paid anyway. This is the best version of Jesse Livermore. Patient, honest, self-aware. Because in the same breath, that self-awareness does something extraordinary. He takes $800,000 and buys annuities, irrevocable trusts for his family. Money locked in a box that pays out forever and can never be traded. And he says the quiet part out loud. He's doing it because he knows himself. He knows that one day the market will take everything he leaves within reach. Every trader hears that sentence and nods. Almost nobody signs the paperwork. He did. And remember it, because the Strongbox is how this story refuses to end completely in a cloakroom. The 1920s make him a king. The fortunes rebuild and multiply. He buys an estate on Long Island and names it Evermore, as in never again nothing. A steam yacht, a private railroad car, a Ziegfeld dancer named Dorothy for a wife, and 2 sons. In Manhattan, he builds the most secretive trading office on the street, a private floor, a staff sworn to silence, a chalkboard wall like the one he wrote on as a boy, except now the boy owns the board. He arrives before his staff, in silence. No phones ringing, no visitors, no tips. He has rebuilt the bucket shop of his childhood, with himself as the only customer. And through the 20s, the greatest bull market anyone has ever seen carries every fool in America upward, while Jesse Livermore, tape reader, starts noticing the same thing he noticed at 14. The numbers are behaving strangely. The market is a religion now. Shoeshine boys give stock tips. Everyone's rich and nobody's sold. And through the summer and autumn, quietly, Livermore begins to build the largest short position one human being has ever assembled. He routes it through more than 100 different brokers, so no one can see the size of what he's doing. Probing, testing, adding only when the market confirms. Every rule from 30 years of scar tissue executed perfectly. Then October arrives. Black Thursday, Black Monday, Black Tuesday. In late October 1929, the market doesn't decline. It ceases to exist as anyone understood it.
Fortunes older than the country evaporate between breakfast and lunch. And one man in a silent office on Fifth Avenue is on the other side of nearly all of it. When the wreckage settles, Jesse Livermore has made approximately $100 million. In 1929 money. More than the annual profit of almost any corporation in America. The single greatest trade ever executed by an individual, before or since. He comes home to Evermore that week, and Dorothy, who has heard the panic on the radio like everyone else, meets him at the door in tears, certain they're ruined. He tells her the truth. It was the best week of his life. Now, here is the moment this entire video turns on, so don't look away. He is 52 years old. He has just executed the perfect trade. 30 years of skill, patience, and pain converted into more money than he could spend in 10 lifetimes. He is, by the only scoreboard he's ever respected, the greatest who ever did it. And by his own account, he feels nothing. The win that was supposed to be enough, the one you're chasing right now, the number that will finally make it all worth it, he caught it. The biggest one ever caught. It did not do what wins are supposed to do. Fortune number 4 is the largest private trading fortune on Earth. Watch how fast a man can spend it when the money was never the point. The country needs someone to blame, and a man who profited $100 million from everyone else's catastrophe is a gift. The papers crown him the Great Bear of Wall Street. Death threats arrive with the morning mail. He hires an armed bodyguard and never really stops paying him. But the threats aren't what get him. What gets him is quieter. The game changes. New rules after the crash, new regulators, a market thinned by fear. The wild ocean he'd read since boyhood becomes a supervised pool. His edge, built for panic and stampede, starts printing losses. Dorothy divorces him in 1932 and takes the boys. Evermore's staff thins. The parties stop. And Jesse Livermore does what you do when the account is down and the silence is loud. He trades bigger and more often, hunting the feeling instead of the setup. The man who waited 6 weeks flat broke for Bethlehem Steel's pivotal point is now taking trades to feel like Jesse Livermore. In March 1934, it's over. Suspended from the Chicago Board of Trade. His third bankruptcy, $84,000 in assets against $2.5 million in debts. The $100 million lasted 5 years.
He never comes back. And the worst part is that he knows it. The depression that has shadowed him his whole life, the real clinical kind, the kind that doesn't care about your net worth, settles in and stays. In 1940, he publishes a book, How to Trade in Stocks. Every rule, every method, the distilled system of the greatest trader alive. It barely sells. The market he'd have needed to prove it died in 1929, and so did the legend's aura. And on November 28th, 1940, Thanksgiving Day, he sits at this bar, finishes 2 drinks, fills 8 pages of his leather notebook, walks to the cloakroom, and takes his own life. He was 63. The last page of the notebook to his wife. My dear Nina, can't help it. Things have been bad with me. I am tired of fighting. Can't carry on any longer. I am a failure. I am a failure. Written by the man who made the single greatest trade in the history of markets. If money could buy a trader peace, this is the man it would have bought it for. Every trader who ever said, "One more good year and I'll feel like enough." His story already ran your experiment with $100 million and published the result. So now the autopsy. Because you don't watch a 20-minute video about a man from 1940 for the history. You watch it for the mirror. 5 findings. The 5th one is the only comfort in this story, so earn it with the first 4. Finding 1. The knowing-doing gap does not close with knowledge, at any scale. Livermore didn't fail because he lacked rules. He wrote the rules. Cut losses fast. Never average down. Never take tips. The tape is the only truth. Then he averaged down on cotton because a charming man kept talking, and oversized in the 30s because the silence was unbearable. Every rule he broke, he had already written down. Read your own journal tonight and count how familiar that is. Finding 2. The most expensive voice in your career will be one you respect. Percy Thomas didn't hack Livermore's account. He was invited in. Because being respected by an impressive man felt more urgent than being right about cotton. Your Percy Thomas has a podcast now, a Discord, a blue checkmark and daily conviction. The mechanism hasn't changed in 118 years. A working system, outshouted by a confident stranger. Finding 3. The win will not fix the thing you're using it to fix. The $100 million week, the perfect trade, the top of the mountain, left him standing in his own library, feeling nothing. If the number in your head, the funded account, the first 100K, the million, is doing emotional work for you, Livermore already ran that experiment at the largest size in history. The result printed in 1929 and again in 1940. Finding 4. An edge is rented, never owned. And the rent is self-honesty. The bucket shop edge died in New York. The panic reading edge died with the new rules of 1934. Twice the game changed underneath him. The first time, at 23, he studied the new game humbly and rebuilt. The second time, at 56, being Jesse Livermore was too big to allow being a student again. The market didn't retire him. His identity did. The boy plunger could learn. The great bear could only be great. And finding 5. The Strongbox. In Nietzsche, in his one season of perfect clarity, Livermore locked $800,000 where the trader in him could never reach it. Irrevocable trusts and annuities for his family. He then spent 23 years proving why. 3 more fortunes came within reach of that man, and none of them survived him. The trusts did. Over $5 million at his death. His family provided for by the only decision the feeling could never renegotiate. Willpower lost every round in this story. Structure went undefeated. That's the small account lesson, the funded account lesson, the your account lesson. The size cap set at the broker. The money moved where the 2 a.m. version of you can't touch it. The rule that doesn't ask how you feel. If the greatest trader who ever lived needed the decision taken out of his own hands. The argument about whether you do is over. Jesse Livermore's tape never lied to him. It told him when railroads would break and when the whole world would. It just never printed the one quote he needed, that the opponent was holding the tape. So, one word in the comments and be honest, because he wasn't. Which one is yours? Voice. The Percy Thomas. The conviction louder than your plan. Or feeling. The trade you take to feel like a trade. Watch how many of us are running his account. If this was worth your evening, the videos on this channel are the same autopsy run on the modern version of you. Start with why 90% lose. It's the same engines with smaller numbers. Subscribe if you're building the version of trading that survives being good at it. 5:30 p.m., November 28th, 1940. A man finishes his second drink, and the greatest trading career in history ends in a cloakroom. But in a bank vault downtown, a Strongbox he locked in 1917 goes right on paying his family for decades. The market took 4 fortunes from Jesse Livermore. It never got the one he put out of his own reach. Be the version of him that signed the paper.